Welcome to part 5 of our CLM video series. In this episode, we're going to answer the question, what are the other helpful pointers to think about when putting together your CLM system? 3 points: migration, integration, and adoption plan. Let's start with migration. Typically, when you are approaching a CLM software vendor, you are not doing this on day one. You already have a bunch of contracts that you've already executed and are already in place. So you need to figure out which of those tools do you want to now move to the new CLM system. It may not be a good idea to start with all of your contracts. You may want to have some threshold or some criteria to sort of limit the number of contracts that you move during your migration to a new system. You could be migrating to a new system from a manual process. You could be migrating from a different CLM system to a new system. Either way, you really need to think about which are the existing contracts that I want to upload to the system. And you could have it by a certain number of years, or it could be by the manner, a certain type of contracts beyond a certain consideration value, or it could even be contracts which are digitized and were e-signed, so they're easier to extract data from. Whatever the criteria, look at your existing set of contracts and understand which ones would it be most useful to put onto the CLM system. The second thing is integrations. Most often in CLM systems, you want them to integrate with your repository. So whether your repository is OneDrive or SharePoint, or you're using a document management system built for legal, you would want that to be seamlessly integrated with your contract lifecycle management system. So it's important to ask upfront, what are the kinds of integrations that the CLM provider has already built out? Do they have REST APIs so that it's easy for them to connect to another provider that also has APIs? But also, have they already built out that integration? Because if they haven't built it out, while it may be possible because they have REST APIs, it will take time and sometimes cost money. So it's important to understand upfront, what are the other systems within your company that you will require your CLM provider to integrate into? The last, but the most important, is your adoption plan. As we've talked about in some of the previous videos, you will have several stakeholders taking part in the contract lifecycle management process. These could be from strategy teams, from business teams, from operational teams, from your credit teams, finance teams, any number of teams you've got who are going to be touching different contracts. So you need to understand, what does that universe look like and how do I drive adoption within that universe? It's very hard when you're working with different stakeholders and different teams, but you need to address that head on upfront. Otherwise, your CLM system is never going to be effective. Lots of times we run into companies where they say that we can get legal to use it, but we can't ensure or force our business teams to use it. And that's a problem. And then you need to identify upfront whether that system makes sense for you if you're not able to get all the different stakeholders on board. So it's very important to think about, what is your adoption plan in place and what are you going to do to incentivize the different stakeholders to start using the system. If you need to get a change management consultant on board to help you, then do that. But you can only do that if you start thinking about the adoption plan. So to conclude, the other helpful things to think about are migration, integrations, and adoption plan. This concludes the 5-part video series on CLM systems. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please write in to priyadarshini@wallchat.com. I'd be happy to answer them. I'm also happy to do a 30-minute free discovery call if you're exploring whether or not to get a CLM system in place. So feel free to write into me. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching.